Good evening, everybody.
और मेरी छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट पता काज है तो मानो मैं तीजे महीने में तो प्रोग्राम करी मैं घेते हैं चित्रा तो मन वाले तीजे रात में तो मन घेती थी मैं इधो
To mute themselves.
ना जो करने
एक minute. Good evening to you all. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur MS India organizing daily international webinar series. This series is running from last 5 years, and this series is a mission of women empowerment. We have invited mostly women resource persons from India and abroad. Today also, today's speaker, NIKITA KUHAR madam, who joined here from Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, New Delhi. I welcome you, ma'am, and all the participants, those who have joined on behalf of your invitation and from our group. She will speak on e-waste management. As we are knowing that this series covers the topics, unlimited topics, there is no restriction on the topic. They can cover education, technology, law, environment. So this topic is very related to all of us because daily we are using the e-materials and the use of this is increasing day by day throughout all families and the persons. So there is a new problem of how to manage that waste. So today's speaker is here on the topic e-waste management and she is accepted our invitation. I welcome you, ma'am, and I request you to start your speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to everyone who's present here. Let me start by asking you a very simple question. How many people have such a scenario at their house? A drawer which is filled with electronic items that you do not need. I think many of us. So that is the topic that we will be talking about today. Before I begin, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Nikita KUHAR. I completed my BCom honors from the University of Delhi in 2018, followed by my MCom from the University of Delhi in 2020. I cleared my NET JRF examination in 2019 with an All India rank 2, and I'm currently pursuing my PhD in finance from the Department of Commerce, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. My PhD in finance is also deeply connected to sustainability and responsible organizational practices. So, over the last few years, I have become increasingly aware that sustainability is not just an environmental concept, it is an organizational responsibility. And institutions like schools, colleges, universities, hospitals, and companies play a very critical role in shaping a cleaner and safer future. In fact, one of our biggest sustainable challenges today is e waste, not just because it pollutes, but because of the lack of awareness on how to manage it. Organizations, including educational institutions, are key agents in spreading that awareness, in changing behavior, and in setting up safe systems. That is exactly why I'm speaking on this topic today, because the fight against e waste begins in places like this, with students, teachers, and institutions who create real generational change. I also want to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. BETKAR, principal and organizer of this international webinar series by Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust, Latur, for inviting me as the speaker. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity to engage with everybody today. Starting with what is e-waste and why is it a problem? The picture that you see in front of you is a picture that almost everyone sees at their home. E-waste is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. Today, it is my endeavor that we not only understand what e-waste is, but also understand why is it harmful, why scrap dealers are not a good option for disposing of e-waste, and how you as students, teachers, academicians and more can become ambassadors of safe e-waste recycling. Let me begin by explaining in very simple terms what we understand by e-waste. E-waste or electronic waste simply means any electronic device that has reached the end of its useful life. What do I mean by that? Electronic means it is a gadget that runs either on electricity or battery. It is a waste because it is a design which is no longer in working, such as your old phone, your old mobile phone, a charger that is not working properly, earphones that you have discarded because either they are not working properly or one of the earphone is working and the other is not, laptops which are old and you have replaced them, keyboards, mouse, remote controls, toys with circuits, and something as little as the cell in your TV remote or AC remote. All of that is electronic waste. And here's something very shocking. India alone generated 13.97 lakh metric tons of e-waste in 2023-24 alone. That is the data by CPCB, which is the Central Pollution Control Board. Out of this, only 20 to 22% is recycled through authorized recyclers. So, what happens to the remaining? The remaining enters scrap markets and ultimately ends up in a landfill. When we begin talking about e waste, the first question that comes is, what are the mistakes that we do? What is it that we should be aware of when it comes to e waste handling? Most of the e waste does not get recycled properly simply because people make these three common mistakes. First, we throw our old gadgets in the dustbin. This is a problem because it leads to soil and water contamination. These devices contain toxic chemicals which are harmful for both animal and plant life. Secondly, we usually sell to the local scrap dealers who use acid burning, open heating, and manual braking. All of these are not only illegal but also extremely polluting. Third, if we do not dispose of our electronic waste, what we do is we keep the old electronics at home for years. We think that this old phone might one day come to use for me in case my existing phone starts to malfunction. Or we think that at least one ear of my earphone is working, so I should just keep it, I should not throw it away. This creates a huge problem. When we look at the statistics for the growing e waste problem in India, we find that India is the third largest e waste generator in the world, after only USA and China. The data by UN Global E Waste Monitor tells us that India generated 62 million tons globally in 2022. This was further corroborated by the UN report of 2024. The global statistics clearly states that if this continues on the pace, then India will reach 82 million tons by 2030. Also, I want you to think about this. Only 20% of India's e-waste is recycled sustainably. That means 80% enters informal scrap markets where burning, breaking, chemical washing will cause further enormous damage to the environment. This scenario is quite bleak. And why is it so? The reason that this is so is because there is a lack of awareness. People don't know that how can they safely dispose of their electronic waste? We are taught in schools and colleges about segregating our biodegradable and non biodegradable waste. We know that green bins are for biodegradable waste and blue bins are for non biodegradable waste. But we don't even know what is the color for the e waste bin. The color for e waste collection bin is red, but you will seldom find an e waste collection bin no matter which organization or institute you go to. This creates a very big problem for India because, as the data shows us, India's annual e waste growth rate is about 15 to 18% per year. This is mainly driven by four factors. Number one, we have rapid mobile upgrade cycles. There's a new iPhone in the market, so let's take that. There's a new OnePlus, there's a new Samsung, let's upgrade. Mobile upgrades are as common as one mobile upgrade every year for most of Indians. Secondly, electronics today have become cheaper. Because electronics have become cheaper, yes, they have increased affordability for all Indians. But on the other hand, because of cheaper electronics, the kind of e waste generated is higher in quantum. Third, we have online sale festivals for electronic items, be it Amazon or Flipkart. And all of those online sale items, further, because they are cheap, they are taken in higher quantity and they end up becoming in e waste because they are not disposed of properly. All of this is further augmented by urban behavior, which is focused on consumption, not sustainability. We don't think that what will happen to the laptop if we dump it on to our scrap dealers. We do not think all of those things. The question that comes is, why is this e-waste harmful, or why should we segregate this? Why not let this e-waste be disposed of like the other waste material that is there in India? Before tackling that, I would like to talk to you about e-waste in twin dimensions. E-waste can both be a resource and a threat. Why is e waste a resource? It is a resource because it has materials, it has metals, it has minerals that can, if extracted properly, go back to the production cycle and therefore become a resource. On the other hand, it is also a threat. Why is it a threat? If it is not disposed of properly, what happens is that it ends up polluting the environment further. Not only do you not have a future resource, you also cause problems for the existing environment, which it cannot tackle because the quantum of e waste which is being generated in India and the globe annually is so huge that all of it together becomes a very big burden. Let me tell you a fun fact. If I stack up the entire e waste which is being produced today globally into a line by line so that it forms the building like structure, you will find that the height of that building is five times Burj Khalifa. Considering that Burj Khalifa is the highest, tallest building in the world, you should be able to imagine the size and quantum of e waste that we are dealing with today. And what is even more problematic is that it is increasing at 15 to 18% per annum. India, because of the informal handling, loses about 80,000 crores of resources because the e waste is not handled properly. Now, the question that comes is, why is this e waste harmful? The simple answer is, inside every phone or laptop are toxic materials, including lead, which damages the brain, mercury, which harms the kidneys, cadmium, which causes lung damage, or brominated flame retardants, which can cause cancer. When the e waste is broken or burnt, these toxics are leaked into the air, in the water, and in the soil. You can see that in Selampur, Delhi, if you're a Delhiite, Selampur, Delhi is India's biggest informal e-waste market. There, you can find children as young as 10 inhaling these toxic fumes daily because of illegal e-waste burning. In fact, the lithium ion batteries, they are the ones that are prone to catching fire. They are prone to explosion when they are crushed. And in many landfills, the fires that are started are because of these hidden mobile batteries, which are unknowingly getting crushed in an in the process of dealing with the e-waste in the waste on the landfill. The question that comes here is, if I dispose of my e-waste to a scrap dealer, why is it such a problem? If I dispose of my e-waste to a scrap dealer, or commonly called as kabadiwalas in Hindi, the problem is that even though the scrap dealers might mean well, but they are not trained, they are not certified by CPCB or the State Pollution Control Board, and they often end up using dangerous informal methods of processing that e waste. Any kind of informal processing is going to harm the environment. They are going to burn wires to extract copper. They're going to dip circuit boards in acid so that the metals can be dissolved. They're going to break screens with either hammers or bare hands. Further, there is no protective gear or equipment that the workers, which are mostly children, wear. And the toxic water that is generated through all of these activities is dumped into drains. So, this entire process of informal handling of e waste releases heavy metals into the ground and into the air, a kind of water pollution that can last for decades. And there is no accountability. If your phone ends up in the wrong hands, personal data can be misused. But if you're giving your phone to a scrap dealer, even though you think you have wiped your data entirely, there are still chances that there might be some data hidden in the hardware or the software that can be extracted. And that is your data which can be misused. Having heard all of this, the common question that comes is, what can we do? If not give our e-waste to scrap dealers, if not keep our e-waste in our drawers for the fear of data privacy, what should I do? Both as an individual and an organization. The simple answer to that is that you should go to authorized recyclers. Authorized recyclers, such as Green Ecolinks, which I'm associated with, they use certified and compliant technology. They are approved by CPCB and SPCB. The registration process and the certificate taking process is so rigorous so as to ensure that the e-waste is handled properly. They have safe recycling methods. There are machines which extract metal without harming the workers and without harming the environment. Most of the authorized recyclers like Green Eco work on a 100% clean water sustainable technology cycle, which ensures that even the water which is being used in the process of e-waste generation is purified and cleaned before it is released back into the environment. So not only are you ensuring that the e-waste is disposed of properly, you're also ensuring that the resources that go into the processing of such e-waste are safe. Further, there is enormous amount of resource recovery. If an authorized recycler has, let's say, 1 ton of smartphones, what can you recover from that? You can recover about 300 to 400 grams of gold. You can recover about 300 to 350 grams of silver. You have about 100 kgs of copper, roughly 100 grams of palladium, and 30 to 40 kgs of aluminium. This means that your old phone, your old laptop, your batteries, all of those are treasures. They are not wastes. Another fun fact is that an authorized recycler is going to give you a fair value, a proper value for all the usable metals which are being extracted by them through the e-waste that you provide. The question that comes here is what can you do in your school as teachers and students, or in your institution, or in your corporate organization? You can individually and collectively play a huge role in solving India's e waste crisis. First, you should ensure that you have a habit of collecting e waste separately. This means at your home, you should designate a bin, a collection bin for e waste where you put all your e waste, and once a month or once a year, whenever the quantity of that is enough, you should partner with the authorized recyclers and you should have them come and pick up your e waste so that they can recycle it safely. Further, you can contribute by spreading awareness. Just like you've attended the session here today, you can go and further educate your classmates or family or friends and talk to your neighbors, because awareness is the biggest missing piece.
Hello.
The authorized recyclers that we have in India, when
Hello.
we go and speak to them, the problem that they say is not that they cannot recycle it. The problem is that if they get the laptop, if they get the phone, they will be able to sustainably take out resources from it. The question of if comes because not enough people know that e waste should be sent to an authorized recycler. According to the E-Waste Act of 2022, which has been created specifically to work with and to ensure that e-waste does not become a problem, uh, that segregates the organizations into bulk consumers. Who is a bulk consumer? A bulk consumer is any organization or entity which has 1,000 quantity of e-waste. If you have an e-waste, if item by item you count them and you have 1,000 pieces, then you are a e-waste, then you are a bulk consumer, and therefore it becomes mandatory for you to register with authorized recyclers and send your e-waste for recycling. Most of you, if you go and you contact your organization, whether it is a school or it is a college or a university or a corporate entity, you will find that it has been years since any kind of electronic item has been disposed of. Even computers and laptops which are no longer working, or printers which are no longer working, are just stored in one room. Ultimately, what happens is one day somebody is going to come and say that it needs to be cleaned up and everything will go to a scrap dealer, because there is lack of awareness. Why does responsible e-waste management matter? It matters because when we recycle e-waste responsibly, we protect the health and environment, not just of ourselves as people, but also the environment, the earth as a whole, because it reduces toxins in soil, in air, and water. The toxins which could have gone into the soil, air, and water and polluted it so badly are now disposed of in a manner that they are not generated. Secondly, it helps us to recover precious metals. India loses 80,000 crore plus worth of metals every year due to improper recycling. So, can you please mute him? Thank you. So India loses more than 80,000 crore worth of metals every year due to improper recycling by UN estimates. If those precious metals, if those rare earth metals go back into the production cycle, the amount of metals that India has to import from other countries are going to come down tremendously. That is going to serve our economy in a manner nothing else can. Third, it helps you become a responsible member that supports a circular economy. What is the concept of a circular economy? The circular economy says that anything which is not in use today should be put to use tomorrow, which means that a waste is a resource and it should be turned into a resource tomorrow, not a burden. A cell of a AC or remote can become a raw material for the industry tomorrow. That, though, can only happen when you ensure that the e waste is disposed of sustainably. Lastly, it helps you to reduce mining. Why do we mine? We mine for precious metals such as gold, but mining gold from rock produces 100 times more pollution than recovering the same gold from e-waste will. And like I told you, that even in 1 ton of smartphones, you will get 30 to 40 grams of gold. That, though it will not solve the entire process, it will reduce the burden that we put on mining. That is where this entire concept comes, which is asking us to change. What can you do as individuals? As individuals, I would encourage that all of you visit authorized recyclers, go to their websites, register for home pickup. Don't throw away your AC or give it to a scrap dealer. Don't give your wires. Wires have copper, and copper is sold for 600 kgs in the market. That is why your scrap dealers are so happy and willing to take wires. But do not send them to scrap dealers because they will only end up polluting the landfill. They would end up in the hands of children who have to extract the copper from them with their hands with no protective equipment. It is time that all of us take a pledge that we will be responsible about e waste management, a pledge that we will commit to ensuring that all office, department, or home e waste goes to authorized recyclers only. That is the only way that we can save the coming generation, the future generation. And isn't that what sustainability is all about? It is about leaving the planet better for the future generation. But what happens currently? Let's say I take the journey of a laptop. A laptop is manufactured by a manufacturer. That manufacturer is interested in the profit that they can earn from selling the laptop. So they keep on creating newer and newer designs and flooding the market with them. The manufacturer is not interested in what will happen to the laptop once it has been purchased by the consumer. So the responsibility thus passes from the manufacturer to the consumer. A consumer, let's say you or I, we purchased the laptop 5 years back. We've been using it for 5 years. Now that laptop is slow. What would we do? We will go to the market and we'll purchase a new one because we need the new laptop for work. What will happen to the laptop that we had earlier? Two things can happen. One, it will be kept in a drawer and forgotten. The other, we'll wipe the entire data to the best of our ability and we will give it to the kabadiwala or scrap dealer that comes to our home and collects it. Let's say that we went with option number two, that we gave it to the kabadiwala, the scrap dealer. What would he do? For the scrap dealer, this old laptop is his business. It is his product. What does he need from it? He needs the metal. He needs to extract what can be extracted. And whatever will be a waste for him too, what will he do with that? If I have extracted the copper from the wires, what about the plastic covering outside? Does the scrap dealer do anything about it? No. because they are not getting anything out of them. For copper, they'll get money. What will they get for plastic? Nothing. So they only extract the copper and the rest is dumped in landfills. And mostly the process of extracting these minerals and metals from that laptop is done by children. Small children because they are easy to put to work, small children because their hands are agile enough and fragile enough to be able to extract it quickly. Do you think the scrap dealer is going to give them protective equipments? No, they don't. So, what can you and I do? This is where an authorized recycler comes into the picture. That authorized recycler can recycle it properly, but only if we ensure that our waste reaches the authorized recycler. Further, we always question that what are our policymakers doing? What have they done to ensure that this problem can be reduced? They can frame guidelines and they can ask for compliance, which has been done through the E-Waste Act of 2022, which is under the overarching umbrella of the Pollution Control Act of India and lays down guidelines for how individuals and bulk consumers can dispose of their e-waste. It also gives certain producer responsibilities, because of which certain companies are now giving an option that they'll call back the products which are not in use. Companies such as Samsung are ensuring that they comply with their producer's responsibility and they take back electronic items which have completed their useful life. Still, there is a lot that we can do as individuals, starting with ensuring that we don't dispose of the e waste wrongly by ourselves and also stopping anybody who does so. That can only be done through awareness. Otherwise, just like today, we question our older generation and ask them, where were you when pollution was increasing so much? Today, it has increased to such a level that we are having difficulty in breathing. Our next generation is going to come and ask us, where were you when e waste was becoming such a problem? Why did you not do anything about it? So today is the correct time that we change our thinking. Instead of saying that the machine is at its last cycle, we should shift our mindset to think that it is time to recycle. This washing machine can maybe in future turn into a laptop or three phones. That depends on where this washing machine is going to end up. If it is going to end up in a landfill, the resources are going to waste. There is nothing productive that will come out of this. Second, it will pollute the environment, which can be seen. Already, pollution levels are so high. A lot of states in India are constantly running at a hazardous PMI index. We keep having warnings, red zone, yellow zone, and whatnot. And yet, in a way, if we don't tackle the problem of e-waste, we are also contributing to the bigger problem of pollution. That is something that we should stop today. We should stop it as an individual and we should ensure that we stop it as an entire community, be it formally through organizations, asking and encouraging your organizations to tie up with authorized recyclers so that the e-waste at the organization level is disposed of properly, or as an individual sitting and educating your family, your neighbor, your friends that e-waste should be collected in a separate bin, should be ideally should be red color, but it can be any color if it is at your house. It should be collected and it should be disposed of by registering to any authorized, going to websites of authorized recyclers, see which one operates in your area, and then registering for them to come and pick up your e-waste. In that endeavor, Green Ecolinks is one of the authorized recyclers which has its recycling plant in Haryana and takes up doorstep pickup. So, if anybody who is serious about e waste not becoming a problem in the future should visit their website and should register. Alternatively, you can write to them on email if you want to tie them up with your organizations and create further awareness. Lastly, I would like to conclude by saying that e-waste is not just an environmental issue. It's a health issue. It's a youth issue. It's a today issue, and it's a future issue. You, as students, as parents, as teachers, can become the e-waste ambassadors of your homes, of your communities, and of your organizations. Therefore, hereby, towards the end of this session, I encourage all of us to contribute to creating a culture where we don't store old electronic items, we don't give them to scrap dealers, we only recycle them through authorized recyclers who will, number one, wipe your data safely because that is what they're obligated to do, then extract the minerals and metals from your e-waste in a manner that it does not harm the environment, and convert the e-waste of today into a resource of tomorrow. Together, we can make India cleaner, greener, and safer. Because rank number three in something such as e waste is definitely not a good look on India. So, together, we should and can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita madam. Very useful topic for us, right from the definition of e-waste, how it is the serious problem. And we also know new thing that we can't give the material to the scrappers. They should be properly processed. Every electronic equipment is having its own instruction, but it doesn't care really how it gets to know. So a very much useful topic for us, and your basis also you how to handle the e-waste and how to process it for the future generation. Thank you for your studies topic. And I request all the participants to unmute themselves and they can discuss without resource person.
If anybody has any questions, please unmute yourself, or you can alternatively write the same in the chat box and I will take it up. Yes, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, Dr. BETKAR sir, and good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation, and
Thank you.
definitely it is one of the biggest problem because we are having the waste when we are talking about variety of waste are there, but the e-waste, is the biggest problem. So we are having really what you have said. It is a reality that we are having number of cell phones which are not in use, and we are having the drawers full of mobile phone. But the another question comes in our mind: if suppose we are disposing this mobile phone, the data or something is there, if how we can protect our data, because I remember my FM, they started with this kind of a program collecting the e-waste and other things, but only the question comes in a mind that if suppose someone should not misuse our this cell phones by using it or something like that. So can you elaborate on this? Thank you.
So the first thing that any authorized recycler, that's the reason that they are called authorized. The first requirement is that they have to handle the data properly. Only then you come to the actual dismantling and taking out of the resources. So the data is wiped from both the hardware and the software of whatever electronic device you're giving. Then it is seen if that if some portion of it can be, if it is one portion of the product is working, let's say 10% of it is still functioning properly, or one part is still functioning properly, that is safely removed from the portion that is not working properly, and it is sent for refurbishing, etc. If it cannot be, then and only then it is dismantled into metals and minerals and resources, which are then channelized to the correct industries. That is how the entire process works.
How we'll get the address of authorized person, that these are the authorized person here we can go for, and how we will get it, because every city has a different structure, and I don't think, every city will have this kind of e-waste management system or something like that.
Sir, CPCB publishes the list of authorized recyclers. Alternatively, you can just Google the authorized recyclers and you can check if they have provided a certificate from CPCB. If they're an authorized recycler, they'll have that certificate. And most of the authorized recyclers, they have a plant in one state, but they normally operate on pan-India level. Like Green Ecolinks operates on a pan-India level, although the plant is situated in one place. So the entire e-waste from Pan India is collected and brought to the e-waste disposal plant.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Wonderful explanation, and I really appreciate, because nowadays, when we started with, the big, huge computers were there, that screen was there, and now we have gone to laptop to tab, and what to do with those, computer and CPU, because some data must be there, some, the problem there. These are the big basic problems where to dispose, because people are we can send it to any mobile shop or something like that, but that is also not, I think, the legal way to dispose it of. So thank you very much for your wonderful explanation, and it is really one of the very important topic, and we should have authorized, such a center, so that e-waste will not be created. And definitely many of the time it happens, it goes to the kids and other people, they have started using it. We feel that now this mobile is not in use, let them play with that gadgets, but of course it contains a lot many harmful things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have another question by Krish Agarwal who's asking, what about plastic bottles? How can we manage that? Because I've seen wherever I go, there is plastic bottle. Again, that's another waste category, and you have recyclers, authorized recyclers for that too. So you can approach some of them and you can schedule a pickup awareness, whatever it is that is feasible to you.
Thank you, all the participants. You can unmute yourself and can discuss this resource. जयवीर सिंह जी, आप बोलिए।
सभी को नमस्ते। मैडम, मेरा एक सवाल है कि आपने कहा कि हमारा भारत अभी तीसरे स्थान पर है ई वेस्टेज में,
जी
20% है। क्या हम तीसरा स्थान छोड़ के दूसरे पहले की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं या पीछे जा रहे हैं? कैसा लगता
बढ़ रहे हैं सर, बढ़ रहे हैं। हमारा सर ई वेस्ट का प्रोडक्शन हर साल 15 से 18% के लेवल पे बढ़ रहा है। दैट इज वेरी वेरी बिग अमाउंट। तो हम और आगे ही जा रहे हैं इफ वी डू नॉट पुट अ स्टॉप टू इट टुडे।
यदि मैडम आप एक लाइन में अगर हमें सभी को बोलें तो इसे कम कैसे किया जा सकता है एक लाइन में? मैं अगर अपना अनुभव बताऊं, मैं 2010 से कभी पन्नी नहीं लेता, लेकिन फिर भी मैं रोजाना 2 से 3 कैरी बैग घर में लाता हूं। क्योंकि इसलिए लाता हूं कि दूध का पैकेट लाता हूं। वैसे मैं अपने साथ में 2-3 बैग रखता हूं हमेशा। 2010 से मैंने बंद किया है बिल्कुल। सब्जी वाले से कभी लेता नहीं हूँ। कभी कुछ खाने की चीज लेता हूँ तो अपने लिफाफे रखता हूँ कागज के गाड़ी में। तो ये तो मेरा अपना खुद का रहा 2000। लेकिन फिर भी एक लाइन में अगर हमें सभी को आप जागरूकता के आधार पर एक लाइन में क्या कहना चाहेंगे, क्या करना चाहिए हमें?
सर मैं आपको कहूंगी कि आपके जो भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वेस्ट है उनको आप एक जगह इकट्ठा करो और फिर ऑथराइज रिसाइकलर के पास दो। वो आपको आपके जो भी ई वेस्ट है उससे रिसोर्सेज भी सही तरीके से निकालेंगे। और जैसे आपको स्क्रैप डीलर को देने पर कुछ बदले में मिलता है, यहाँ पर भी मिलेगा। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप फ्री में दे रहे हैं, बट दो फायदे हैं। एक कि जो भी आप दे रहे हो वो वेस्ट से वापस रिसोर्स बन जाएगा, और दूसरा आपको कुछ मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट भी होगा डिपेंडिंग ऑन कि आपने जो ई वेस्ट दिया है उससे क्या और कितना क्वांटिटी ऑफ रिसोर्सेज निकला है।
जी बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने, क्योंकि अगर हम, ये बहुत ही अच्छी बात आपने कही, क्योंकि अगर हम किसी कचरे वाले को इसको देते हैं तो वो इसका अलग अलग हिस्सा करना उसे नहीं आता और उससे काफी हमें नुकसान हो सकता है। ये बहुत सही बात आपने कही कि हमें ये ऐसे ही व्यक्ति को देना चाहिए जो उसके बारे में रखता है और सही उसका रिसाइकल कर सकता है। क्योंकि छोटे मोटे जो भंगार वाले कहते हैं हम, ये ले जाते हैं, मैंने देखा है, तोड़ के कुछ इधर फेंक देंगे कुछ उधर फेंक देंगे, तो उससे बहुत नुकसान है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैडम, आपकी बहुत ही अच्छी जानकारी आपने दी, इसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू जयवीर जी भी। मैडम ने कैसे कहा है कि जो कबाड़ी पानी देती है तो वो लेके जाता है और वहाँ छोटे छोटे बच्चों के हाथ से काम करते हैं, वहाँ कोई मेडिकल प्रिकॉशंस नहीं है, पोल्यूशन बनाते हैं। तो ये सब बात नहीं होने के लिए तो हम ऑथराइज रिसाइकलर को देना है। हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट को ये होना है। ऐसे तो कलेक्टर जो कि कलेक्ट करने के लिए सेंटर हो सकता है आगे, क्योंकि अभी तो उसकी समस्या बहुत बढ़ रही है। थैंक यू। और कोई उपस्थित में से जो हमारे मैडम के रिक्वेस्ट आए वाले, क्योंकि आज की हमारी स्ट्रेंथ 50 क्रॉस हो गई। हर दिन हम 25-20 तक रहते हैं, मगर आज 25-30 तक, तो 20 आपके तरफ से आए वाले, आप सभी को स्वागत करते हैं। और कुछ पूछना है तो चर्चा कर सकते हैं आप।
बेटकर सर आपका ही बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, क्योंकि आप ऐसे ऐसे कार्यक्रम लेकर आते हैं जो पूरे भारत में जाते हैं। ये संदेश पूरे भारत में जाता है। ये ऐसा नहीं है कि हम यहाँ 20-25 लोग हैं, लेकिन 20-25 भी 15 से 16 राज्यों से जुड़े हैं और सभी जिम्मेदार किसी न किसी विभाग से जुड़े हैं। तो इसके लिए आपका बहुत ही बहुत धन्यवाद सर। आपके बगैर ये असंभव जो हो रहा है संभव में जा रहे हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर।
जी जी, शुक्रिया सर, शुक्रिया। क्योंकि ये जो यूट्यूब लिंक है ये सभी तरफ तो सबके लिए, और सभी हम एक जवाबदार नागरिक बनके आज का टॉपिक जो है हमें प्रार्थना प्रेज भी दी है कि हमें प्रार्थना भी करने के लिए कहा है। तो हम जरूर हम हमारे जो ई वेस्ट है उसको प्रॉपर कलेक्ट करेंगे, प्रॉपर ऑथराइज्ड जो कलेक्टर है उनको हम सप्लाई करेंगे। धन्यवाद मैडम। और कोई पूछना चाहते हैं तो पूछ सकते हैं।
Yes, Kashish, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, I would like to thank you for the wonderful session on this e-waste management. Basically, no one talks about e-waste management much. So I appreciate the awareness that you have created around like such a crucial one issue it is. So really thankful for it.
Thank you, Kashish.
Hello. Thank you to all participants that you joined and discussed here. We are thankful to our resource person and also wait for her next topic. If she got a time in future, she will also join as a resource person. Actually, it was more argument because of the marriage function at home. So we have given it, and lastly, she accepted our invitation today and joined here. Thank you, ma'am.
Tell me some other words, bro. Tell me.
Thank you, sir. No problem. Thank you, sir.
For those who are joining from your side, and also I will share feedback link to you. Please you share it with them because they are not in. Okay. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
और भाइयों
अरे मजा आ गया भाई,
एकदम कैंट मजा आ गया।
क्या क्लास दी, ओए होए होए। नहीं चाहिए, ट्राइंगल नहीं बनना है, ठीक है, ट्राइंगल नहीं बनना, माइनस भी मैक्स से।
Sir, can we close the session, please?
Yes, sir. You can leave, madam. I will waiting
Thank you.
for participants to fill the feedback. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you. Good evening.
जय श्री अल्लाह, जय श्री अल्लाह।
अरे सर जी राम राम।
जय श्री अल्लाह, जय श्री अल्लाह। अल्लाह अकबर।
चलो जैसे देखते हैं, अब इसी में अगर तुम समझ गए तो ऑप्टिमाइजेशन प्रॉब्लम